this video is about. She stood in line at the airport, and a rich stranger offered to carry her bag. If this story touches your heart, please mention where you are watching from in the comments. Please like the video and share your thoughts in comments. The hum of conversation buzzed through the crowded terminal, an unending symphony of hurried footsteps, rolling suitcases, and the distant announcements of departing flights. The scent of coffee mingled with the faint aroma of cinnamon rolls from a nearby cafe, permeating the air with an inviting warmth that contrasted sharply with Naomi's growing anxiety. She stood in line at Airport Terminal B, her mind racing through 100 thoughts at once. Clutching her oversized leather bag with all the strength she could muster, she felt its weight pressing against her shoulder, a constant reminder of the life choices she'd made. It contained not just her clothes and toiletries, but the remnants of a life she was trying to leave behind. A life filled with expectations, disappointments, and a deep-seated longing for change. She had spent the last few weeks preparing for this moment, each day a countdown to her escape from the shadows of her past. Just ahead of her, a mother juggled two restless children while trying to keep an eye on the churning line. Naomi watched as the mother's breath hitched in frustration, the chaos of travel amplifying her stress. It was a scene she recognized all too well. She had been that mother not long ago, feeling the weight of the world pressing down on her shoulders. "Ma'am," a voice broke through her thoughts, smooth and rich like the dark roast she craved. She turned slightly, glancing up to find a man standing beside her, tall and impeccably dressed. His tailored navy suit hugged his broad shoulders, and his hair was swept back in a way that suggested effortless sophistication. Yes," Naomi responded, her heart skipping a beat. There was something magnetic about him, a charisma that seemed to echo through the throng of travelers. "Do you need help with your bag?" he asked, nodding towards her leather satchel. His eyes, a piercing shade of blue, held hers with an intensity that made her pulse quicken. Naomi hesitated, her shoulders stiffening defensively. "I'm fine, thanks," she replied, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. She wasn't accustomed to accepting help, especially from strangers who appeared to glide through life with ease. He gave a low chuckle, a sound that was both soothing and disarming. "I promise I don't bite, but that bag looks like it might have a few secrets weighing it down." There was a playful glint in his gaze, as if he was daring her to let down her guard. She smirked, warmth creeping into her cheeks. "You have no idea. It's burdened by the weight of my dreams, or maybe just too many shoes." "Shoes, huh? A woman of taste, I see," he replied, a teasing lilt to his voice. "I'm James, by the way." He extended a hand, his smile genuine and inviting. "Naomi." She took his hand, and the connection sent an unexpected jolt through her, an electric spark that made her rethink her initial reluctance. His grip was firm yet gentle, and for the first time that day, her anxiety shifted to curiosity. "Pleasure to meet you, Naomi," he said, his tone dropping slightly as if they were sharing a secret. "So, where are you headed?" "San Francisco," she replied, feeling oddly compelled to share more. "I'm starting a new job there." "New beginnings. I love that," he said, nodding appreciatively. "I'm heading to a conference, but I'm planning on squeezing in a little time to explore the city. Any recommendations?" His eyes sparkled with genuine interest. Naomi couldn't help but smile. "You have to check out the Golden Gate Park, and if you have time, go to a little cafe called Tartine. Their pastries are to die for." She found herself leaning in slightly, caught in the magnetic pull of his presence. It was as if the noise of the terminal faded into the background, leaving only the two of them in an intimate bubble. He smiled, and in that moment something shifted. Naomi felt a burgeoning connection, an unexplainable bond forming through the simple exchange of words. "Pastries and parks. I'll add that to my itinerary. But first, he gestured towards her bag. Let me help you with that. It's the least I can do for a fellow traveler. Naomi opened her mouth to protest, but the earnestness in his eyes made her pause. For one fleeting moment, she considered the possibility of allowing someone else to share the burden, if only for a little while. The thought was both foreign and liberating. "All right," she said with a reluctant laugh, her defenses slowly crumbling. "Just for a minute, though." "Deal?" He took the bag from her shoulder and she felt a strange lightness seep into her chest. "Wow, this really is quite a bag. What are you hiding in here? A small country?" "Something like that," she replied, rolling her eyes playfully. "A little bit of everything, I suppose. Just trying to be prepared for anything in this new chapter." "I admire that," he said, his tone softening. "It takes courage to start over. I'm sure you're going to do great things in San Francisco." Naomi felt her face warm at his words. "Thank you, I hope you're right." She shuffled her feet, feeling suddenly vulnerable under his gaze. "And how about you? What are you hoping to do at this conference?" "Networking," he replied, a faint hint of amusement in his eyes. "But really, I just want to meet interesting people and maybe reconnect with why I love my field. Sometimes it feels like the work takes over, and I forget the passion behind it." Naomi was intrigued. "And what is that passion?" "Creating experiences that connect people," he answered, a spark igniting in his voice. "There's something beautiful about bringing strangers together, don't you think? It's like piecing together a puzzle, and when it fits, the result can be magical." "I do think that's beautiful," she admitted, surprised by her own response. "I've always believed in the power of connection. It's what drives me to create art, to tell stories that resonate. It's about finding that thread that ties us all together." He seemed taken aback, a flicker of admiration dancing across his face. "An artist, then, I should have guessed." There was a beat of silence charged with unspoken words. "What kind of art do you create?" "Mostly mixed media, painting, writing, sometimes photography," she said, her passion bubbling to the surface. "I love to capture emotions, moments that might otherwise slip away. It feels like a way to preserve life's beauty." James shifted his weight, leaning slightly closer. "That's amazing. I'd love to see your work someday." The sincerity in his voice sent a thrill through her. "Maybe," she said coyly, locking eyes with him. "If you're lucky." The playful banter hung between them, thick with a chemistry that felt almost palpable. The line moved, inching forward, but time seemed to slow, stretching the moment into something more significant. She was aware of the way his attention lingered on her, how his presence made the airport feel less chaotic, more like a backdrop to a story waiting to unfold. "Let's exchange numbers," he suggested, his expression earnest, cutting through the mist of uncertainty that clouded her thoughts. "So I can show you some of my work too. I can send you all the best spots in the city." Naomi's heart raced at the prospect, the thrill of potential blooming within her. She hesitated, a flicker of doubt creeping in. "Are you sure that's a good idea? We just met and you're a stranger." It slipped out more defensively than she intended, laced with apprehension. He studied her, his brow furrowing slightly as if weighing her words. "I get that, but maybe that's what makes it exciting. We're both seeking new beginnings, right? What's the harm in connecting?" She bit her lip, torn between caution and the allure of spontaneity. In that moment, it felt as though the mundane world had faded, leaving just the two of them standing on the precipice of something new, something thrilling. "Okay," she finally agreed, her breath catching in her throat. "Let's do it." As they exchanged numbers, the brief touch of his fingers against hers sent a shiver down her spine. This was more than just a chance encounter. It felt like the beginning of a story, one that could lead to endless possibilities. "See you in San Francisco, Naomi," he said, his voice low and warm as the line began to shift again. "Yes, see you there," she murmured, a smile tugging at her lips. And as they parted ways, Naomi felt lighter than she had in months, her bag no longer a burden but a promise of new adventures waiting just beyond the horizon. As Naomi navigated the bustling terminal, she couldn't shake the resonance of her encounter with James. His smile lingered in her thoughts, a warm ember igniting her imagination as she pictured the vibrant streets of San Francisco. She had come to the airport seeking escape, yet instead she felt a tug towards something unexpected and thrilling. The flight was a blur of turbulence and cloud-swathed vistas, her mind too busy replaying their conversation to focus on the safety instructions being recited by the flight attendant. With each passing minute, anticipation swirled within her. Their playful banter had sparked something dormant inside her, something she hadn't even realized she was missing. She could picture his blue eyes, the way they lit up as he spoke about connecting with people, his passion evident in every word. By the time the plane touched down, her heart fluttered with a mixture of excitement and nerves. She retrieved her bag from the overhead compartment, the leather now feeling lighter, as if it had shed some of its weight during the flight. Stepping into the cool San Francisco air was like a breath of fresh possibility. The sun peeked through the clouds, casting a delicate golden hue over the city. As she made her way to the taxi stand, her phone buzzed in her pocket, jolting her from her thoughts. A message from James flashed across the screen. "Just landed. Can't wait to see San Francisco. Hope your flight was smooth." Smiling face with smiling eyes. A smile spread across her face, her heart warming at the simplicity of it. She hesitated for a moment, fingers hovering above the screen before she responded. "Just landed too. Can't wait to explore. Let me know when you're free to meet up." The taxi ride to her hotel was a whirlwind of vibrant sights. The iconic Golden Gate Bridge, the charming streets lined with pastel Victorian houses, and the distant sound of waves crashing against the rocky coastline. Naomi felt her heart race with each new vista, her spirit swelling with the promise of exploration and new beginnings. After checking in, she dropped her bag in her room, the space modest yet inviting. The walls were adorned with local art, and a small window overlooked the bustling street below. She stood for a moment, absorbing it all, when her phone buzzed again. "Let's meet for coffee at Tartine. Say an hour from now. I hear the pastries are amazing." Naomi's heart leaped at the thought of seeing him again. She quickly typed back a response, her fingers trembling slightly with excitement, before she slipped on a light jacket and set out into the sun-kissed streets. As she walked towards Tartine, the aroma of freshly baked bread and sweet pastries wafted through the air, wrapping around her like an embrace. The cafe was buzzing with life, filled with locals and tourists alike, all drawn in by the enticing scents and the vibrant atmosphere. When she spotted James sitting at a small table by the window, she felt an irresistible rush of warmth. He looked effortlessly poised, his gaze focused on the bustling street outside. His dark hair caught the sunlight, giving him an almost ethereal glow. "Hey there," he greeted, standing as she approached, his smile bright and welcoming. "You found the place." "Of course. I couldn't resist the aroma wafting from the door," she replied, sliding into the seat across from him. "This place is amazing." "It is, isn't it?" He leaned forward slightly, eyes glinting with enthusiasm. "I can't believe I haven't been here before. What do you recommend?" "The croissants are a must, but if you're adventurous, try the lemon tart. It's life-changing," she said, her excitement infectious. "Sounds perfect," he said, waving over a waitress to place their order. "And how are you finding San Francisco so far?" "It's everything I hoped it would be and more," she admitted, her heart fluttering at the thought of the possibilities that lay ahead. I can't wait to explore the art scene and meet new people. Sounds like a plan. What are you most excited about? He asked, leaning back in his chair, his expression attentive. I want to find that spark again. The one that made me fall in love with art in the first place, she confessed, feeling the words flow more easily now that she was in his presence. I've spent so long in a routine, feeling stuck in my own head. I just want to create something that resonates with others. That's beautiful, he said softly, his gaze piercing hers with a depth that sent a shiver down her spine. I think you'll find what you're looking for here. This city has a way of inspiring creativity. It's like every corner holds a story waiting to be told. Their pastries arrived, and as they dug in, the conversation flowed effortlessly, punctuated with laughter and playful banter. Naomi felt herself relaxing, the initial nerves giving way to a sense of ease. So what about you? She asked, curiosity piqued. What do you love about your work? James leaned back, a thoughtful expression crossing his face. I love the thrill of collaboration, the way ideas can spark and evolve when people come together. But sometimes I feel like the pressure to succeed overshadows that passion. He paused, looking out the window as if searching for the right words. I'm hoping this conference will reignite that fire for me. Naomi could see the struggle beneath his confident demeanor, the flicker of vulnerability that made him all the more intriguing. What do you do when you feel like that? When the passion dims? I remind myself why I started in the first place, he said, turning back to her, his expression earnest. And I seek out inspiration like this, he gestured between them. Talking to someone who brings a fresh perspective, sharing stories, and finding the beauty in the everyday. Naomi felt a warm flush spread across her cheeks at the implication behind his words. I'm glad we met then. Maybe we can inspire each other, she suggested, a teasing smile dancing on her lips. Definitely, he replied, his gaze steady. And in that moment, the air between them grew thick with unspoken tension. They finished their pastries, their conversation moving from art to travel, to their favorite books and films. Each exchange felt like a thread weaving them closer, and Naomi found herself sharing more than she usually would with someone she had just met. As they prepared to leave, James stood, offering his hand to help her up. The touch lingered, electric, igniting a spark that sent a thrill through her. What's next on your agenda? He asked, his voice low and inviting. I was thinking of heading to Golden Gate Park, she replied, glancing up at him, the sunlight catching the flecks of gold in his hair. I've heard it's beautiful this time of year. Mind if I join you? He asked, a hint of hopefulness in his tone. I could use a break from conference life, and it sounds like a perfect way to explore the city. Her heart skipped a beat at the prospect of spending more time with him. I'd like that, she said, the warmth of their burgeoning connection wrapping around her like a cozy blanket. As they stepped out into the vibrant streets, she felt a sense of possibility blooming within her, the promise of a day filled with adventure and unexpected moments. With every step they took together, she could feel the weight of her past drifting further away, replaced by the thrilling uncertainty of what lay ahead. The sun hung high in the sky, illuminating their path as they walked side by side, laughter mingling with the sounds of the city. Naomi couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of something extraordinary, a story waiting to unfold, with each chapter filled with discovery, connection, and maybe even a little bit of magic. As they made their way toward Golden Gate Park, Naomi felt an exhilarating sense of freedom enveloping her. The streets of San Francisco buzzed with energy, every corner bursting with color and life. Street vendors called out to passers-by, the sound of laughter mingling with the distant strumming of a street musician's guitar. The city felt alive, pulsating with a rhythm that matched the quickening beat of her heart. James fell into step beside her, his presence warm and reassuring. "So, what's your dream project?" he asked, breaking the comfortable silence that had settled between them as they strolled. His eyes sparkled with genuine curiosity, drawing her in. Naomi paused to consider his question, the thought of sharing her aspirations sending a rush of excitement through her. "I've always wanted to create an immersive art installation," she confessed, her voice brightening. "Something that invites people to engage with the pieces, to feel the emotions behind them. I want it to be an experience, not just something to look at." James raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "That sounds incredible. You could use a space that engages all the senses, right? Maybe include sound or scent to enhance the experience." "Exactly," she exclaimed, her passion igniting. "I want people to step inside and feel a shift, like they've entered a different world. Something that resonates on a personal level where they can reflect on their own experiences." "I love that," he said, his tone sincere. "It's like you're inviting them to tell their own stories through your art. You know, I can see that passion in your eyes when you talk about it." Her cheeks flushed at his compliment. "Thank you. It's been a while since I felt this excited about anything. I think this city is already inspiring me in ways I didn't expect." He smiled softly, and for a moment the world around them faded into a blur, leaving just the two of them standing on their own little island of connection. "What about you?" Naomi asked, eager to shift the focus back to him. "What's your dream project? Something that encapsulates why you love what you do." James seemed to ponder her question, his gaze drifting to the bustling street before them. "I think I'd love to create a community-driven event. A festival or a gathering where people come together to share their ideas and passions, kind of like a mini expo. It could be anything from art to technology, but the goal would be to foster connection and collaboration." Naomi could see the spark in his eyes, the excitement dancing across his features as he spoke. "That sounds amazing. I can really see you thriving in that environment. It fits perfectly with your passion for connecting people." "Thanks," he said, glancing sideways at her, a hint of shyness creeping into his demeanor. "I think it's important for people to feel seen and heard, and I'd love to create a space for that." He paused, his expression turning more serious. "But I also think I need to remember to nurture that passion in my own life, outside of work. It's all too easy to get lost in the day-to-day grind." Naomi nodded, understanding the struggle all too well. "It's a balancing act. I often find myself pouring everything into my art and forgetting to live in the moment." She hesitated, then added, "But today feels different. It feels liberating." "Liberating," he mused, and the way he said it felt like an echo of her own thoughts. "That's an excellent word for it. Maybe we're both finding a bit of freedom in each other's company." She smiled, her heart warming at the sense of camaraderie that was blossoming between them. "I think so. This day feels like a breath of fresh air." As they reached the entrance to Golden Gate Park, the sprawling expanse of greenery welcomed them like an old friend. Sunlight trickled through the leaves, casting dappled shadows on the path ahead. Naomi inhaled deeply, the scent of fresh grass mingling with the salty breeze from the bay nearby. "Shall we wander?" James suggested, gesturing to the winding trails that beckoned them forward. "Definitely," she replied, her excitement bubbling over. "I've read about the Conservatory of Flowers. I'd love to see that." "Lead the way, artist," he grinned, and as she set off down the path, she felt a surge of confidence. She was in control of this journey, both in the park and in her life. As they walked, they chatted about everything and nothing. Favorite childhood memories, the thrill of travel, and the little quirks that made them who they were. Each shared anecdote became another thread weaving their connection tighter, and Naomi found herself laughing freely, the sound echoing in the open space around them. "Okay, I have to ask, James said, suddenly serious as they paused beside a pond dotted with lily pads. "What's something about you that would surprise me?" Naomi thought for a moment, scanning her mind for something that would break the mold of the artist she had already laid out before him. "I used to be a competitive swimmer," she said, a smile playing on her lips. "I spent most of my childhood at the pool. It's a stark contrast to where I am now, but it taught me discipline and perseverance." "Wow, that's impressive," James replied, his eyes widening with genuine admiration. "I can't swim to save my life, but I have immense respect for anyone who can. What made you switch to art?" She hesitated, her heart fluttering as she considered how much to reveal. "I had to make a choice when I was a teenager, stick with swimming and pursue it seriously, or follow my passion for art. I chose art. I guess I wanted to create, to express myself in a different way." His gaze softened, the intensity deepening. "That's a beautiful choice. It must have taken courage to pivot like that. I admire that you followed your heart." "Thank you," she said, feeling her cheeks flush. "What about you? What's something surprising?" James chuckled, scratching the back of his head as he thought. "Well, I'm not really the corporate type, but I can cook up a mean risotto." He grinned, and she found herself captivated by his charm. "I learned from my grandmother. She used to say the kitchen is where love is expressed." Naomi's heart melted at the thought. "I love that. Cooking is such a beautiful art form. I think it's all about the emotions you infuse into it." "Exactly," he agreed, his eyes lighting up. "Whenever I cook, it feels like an extension of who I am. I love experimenting with flavors just like you do with your art." As they continued walking, Naomi felt the electric tension between them shift and evolve. The sunlight filtering through the trees created a soft glow around them, and she couldn't help but notice how his laughter seemed to resonate within her, filling the space between them with warmth. They eventually reached the Conservatory of Flowers, its Victorian architecture standing proudly against the vibrant backdrop of the park. The glass structure glimmered in the sunlight, its interior promising a world of exotic plants and flowers. "Shall we?" James asked, motioning toward the entrance. "Absolutely," she replied, her heart racing. As they entered, the fragrant air enveloped them, rich with the scent of blooming flowers. The vibrant colors and lush greenery illuminated her senses, igniting a sense of wonder within her. "This place is incredible," she breathed, her eyes wide as she took in the beauty around her. "I can already feel my inspiration sparking." James stepped closer, his shoulder brushing against hers, the proximity sending a thrill coursing through her. "I can't wait to see what you create after this." Naomi smiled, feeling emboldened by his words. "Maybe we can collaborate on something. Your expertise in bringing people together and my art could create something truly unique." "I love that idea," he said, his voice low and enticing. "Let's make it happen." As they wandered through the conservatory, they explored the various exhibits, marveling at the rare plants and sharing stories about their favorite flowers. With each step, the connection between them deepened, a shared understanding growing in the space around them. When they reached a particular exhibit, a vibrant display of orchids, Naomi paused, captivated by their delicate beauty. "These are stunning," she marveled, leaning in to get a closer look. "Just like you," James said softly. The compliment hung in the air, a moment suspended in time. Naomi turned to him, their eyes locking, and she felt a rush of warmth flood her cheeks. "Thank you," she whispered, her heart racing in response to the intensity of his gaze. "Really," he continued, his voice sincere, "there's something beautiful about how you see the world. It shines through in your art, and it's evident in how you engage with everything around you." Her breath caught in her throat, and she found herself searching for the right words. I appreciate that more than you know. It's rare to feel seen for who I truly am." James took a step closer, their bodies mere inches apart. I think people often overlook the beauty and authenticity, but you're like a breath of fresh air, Naomi. Every word hung between them, charged with a heady mix of chemistry and longing. The air felt thick with unsaid tension, and Naomi's heart raced at the closeness. The moment stretched, a delicate thread connecting them in the midst of the blooming orchids, their vibrant colors reflecting the intensity of their conversation. "I wish I could bottle this feeling," she said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. "This moment, this connection, it feels rare." James's gaze intensified, and he took another step closer, their breaths mingling in the small space between them. "Maybe that's what art is meant to do, capture fleeting moments and make them eternal," he replied, his voice low and velvety. "You have a gift for that, Naomi. I can't wait to see how you translate this into your work. Maybe you could help me," she proposed, a playful smile tugging at her lips, the idea igniting something daring within her. "You have a knack for seeing beauty in things that others might overlook. It could be a fun collaboration. You could be my muse." James chuckled, a rumble of warmth that seemed to resonate within her. "A muse? I'm honored, but what if I'm a terrible one? What if you end up creating something that looks like a toddler's finger painting?" Naomi laughed, a spontaneous joy bubbling up inside her. "Well, that could make for a very interesting installation, but I have a feeling you'd bring more to the table than just crayons and finger paints." His eyes sparkled with mischief. "Challenge accepted, but I warn you, I'm not just a pretty face. I can bring chaos to the artistic process." "Chaos can be quite beautiful," she countered, her heart racing at the playful banter. "Art often thrives in the unexpected, don't you think?" "True," he nodded, the corners of his mouth lifting in a soft smile. "You've got me curious now. What would our chaotic masterpiece look like?" Naomi leaned against a nearby railing, glancing out at the vibrant foliage beyond the glass walls. "I imagine it being immersive, much like our conversation. It would invite people in and encourage them to interact. Maybe an installation where they can contribute their own stories, add their own colors, and let their emotions be part of the piece." "That sounds incredible," James said, his voice low and sincere. "You have this insatiable need to connect, don't you? You want to weave people together through your art." "I do," she admitted, feeling a sense of vulnerability wash over her. "Art has always been my way of making sense of the chaos of life. It's how I find connection, even amidst the noise." James's expression shifted slightly, a glimmer of understanding passing between them. "It's beautiful how you use your experiences to create something meaningful. You're crafting a legacy, one that speaks to the human experience." The weight of his words hung in the air, and Naomi felt a swell of gratitude. "Thank you for seeing that," she said, her heart swelling with warmth. "Always," he replied, his gaze steady and sincere. "You deserve to feel seen, Naomi. You have a light that draws people in. I'm glad we're sharing this moment." There was a pause, the world fading away as they stood together, wrapped in the intimacy of their exchange. The sound of a distant child's laughter broke the spell, pulling them back to the present. Naomi's heart raced, torn between the desire to bridge the closeness and the nagging voice of caution in her head. "Come on, let's explore more," she said, breaking the tension with a smile. "I want to see everything this place has to offer." James nodded, falling back into step beside her. "Lead the way, fearless artist." They wandered through the conservatory, marveling at the exotic plants, pausing to admire a delicate collection of carnivorous flowers, and laughing at the absurdity of their existence. Each exhibit seemed to spark a new conversation, weaving together their thoughts and perspectives like a colorful tapestry. As they moved into the butterfly exhibit, Naomi felt a sense of childlike wonder envelop her. The air was filled with the soft fluttering of wings, and the vibrant colors of the butterflies danced around them like living jewels. "Look at them," she exclaimed, her eyes wide with delight. "They're so beautiful." James leaned in closer, his voice barely above a whisper. "Just like you," he said, his eyes locking onto hers. A rush of warmth flooded Naomi's cheeks, and she glanced away, momentarily flustered. "You really know how to make a girl blush," she teased, trying to regain her composure. James chuckled, clearly enjoying the effect he had on her. "It's easy when you're in the presence of someone so captivating." "Okay, now you're just buttering me up," she said, her heart fluttering at the compliment. "What do you want from me?" "Just to keep this moment alive," he replied, a hint of seriousness creeping into his tone. "I want to remember it and maybe even replicate it in my own way." "Then we definitely need to collaborate," Naomi said, excitement bubbling within her. "We could create something that captures this feeling, this connection." "I'm in," James said without hesitation, his eyes glinting with enthusiasm. "Let's make it happen." As they emerged from the conservatory, the sunlight bathed them in a warm glow, and Naomi felt a rush of exhilaration. "I can't wait to get started. I have so many ideas swirling around in my head," she said, her excitement spilling over. "Then let's not waste any time," he replied, his tone playful yet earnest. "How about we meet up tomorrow so you can give me the full tour of your artistic vision? I'm eager to hear more." "Absolutely," she agreed, her heart racing at the thought of spending more time with him. "I'll show you my favorite spots in the city, and maybe we can brainstorm some ideas together." James nodded, a smile breaking across his face. It's a date, artist and muse, embarking on a creative adventure. Naomi felt her stomach flutter at the word date, the weight of it settling in the air between them. "Yes, a date," she echoed softly, a smile creeping onto her lips. "I like the sound of that." As they continued their exploration of Golden Gate Park, their banter flowed effortlessly, the chemistry between them palpable. With every shared laugh, every fleeting touch, the world shrank to just the two of them, caught in the magic of the moment. They wandered through fields of wildflowers, the sun casting a golden hue over the landscape. James occasionally brushed his fingers against hers, and every touch sent electric shocks rippling through her. With each shared glance, Naomi felt the walls she had built around herself begin to crumble, allowing the warmth of connection to seep in. Eventually, they found themselves at a quiet glade, surrounded by tall trees that whispered secrets in the gentle breeze. They settled onto a bench, the piece of the park enveloping them in a serene cocoon. "Thank you for today," James said, turning to face her, sincerity etched across his features. "I wasn't sure what to expect, but this has been far beyond anything I imagined." Naomi felt her heart swell at his words. "I feel the same way. I didn't expect to connect with someone so deeply, so quickly. It's refreshing." James leaned closer, his gaze intent. "It's more than just refreshing. It feels significant, like we've stumbled upon something that could grow into something beautiful." "Or chaotic," she teased, nudging him playfully. "But I think that's what makes it exciting. Chaos can lead to beautiful things after all," he replied, a hint of mischief in his eyes. "You might just be the best chaos I've ever found." Naomi laughed, her heart fluttering at the unexpected compliment. "Just wait until you see my studio. It's a beautiful mess." "I can't wait," James said, his gaze lingering on her. The intensity in his eyes made her pulse race, and for a moment the noise of the park faded into oblivion. "What are we waiting for?" Naomi asked, her voice barely above a whisper, the unspoken tension swirling around them. "Let's make some chaos." "Together," he said softly, the word hanging in the air like a promise. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting a warm golden light around them, Naomi felt as though they were on the cusp of something extraordinary, an adventure that held the promise of connection, artistry, and perhaps the magic of romance. And for the first time in a long while, she was ready to embrace whatever came next.